Pastor Andrew Stevens, Church of Common Good, Exodus Project, American Culture TV. Check us out on Facebook. We're also doing it's called the Exodus Project in IS Audits. We are here in Dixon, California on May 17th, 2017. Had some police interaction. And this one, we had the auditor didn't have a camera on. Yet I had a camera, and what we were trying to capture is how the police do when there's not a camera compared to when there is. And how we captured, I just don't know if we were trying to capture that. That's how we captured this audit. It was organically captured. So I approached an officer when we were doing a check on TJ and the kids who were out doing an audit here in Dixon. And the cop says, "Are you the parents of the children?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he says, "Well, what's your name?" And he wants to do an NCIC background check on me. And so I refuse to give him my name and want to know why, what crime I'm being suspected of. Now in California, this is not a stop and ID state, so he has no reason to get an ID from me or information unless I'm being arrested and booked for a felony. That's the way it works in California. So, but no, he's going to coerce me. He was on the coercion mode, and I'm telling him that you don't have a right to do that. But he tells me that he's there to investigate the crime of possible child neglect because my son dropped a ball. It went toward the road, and he moved toward the road when they were doing an audit. This is what he presented to me. Another officer is over with TJ and the kids, and Michelle got on location to them, and she was presented with the same story that they asked for the ID from her, and then they told her that they were there for panhandling, quote unquote. Well, we all know that panhandling is not illegal, especially not in California, and so that's a fail on the NNIS audits because they showed up to investigate a non-crime and just have an interaction and start running warrant checks and things like that. TJ also gave us a story about how the first cop started talking and asking if we were in the van smoking something, as if we were smoking like meth or some drugs or something. And TJ immediately told him that, you can't mix these two and say that we're using drugs because you're here over sign holding. At this time, the cop that was with TJ and the kids was presenting that they were there for sign holding, where I was with the cop who's presenting that he's there for a possible child neglect that was actually created because the officer took TJ's attention off the children when the interaction began. So Blade's ability to drop the ball and go toward the road was even created because there was a cop present preventing TJ from, his attention being on Blade and doing the duties of someone, a guardian, which in my opinion means the cop who's now taking control of the situation would be now the guardian of the whole tribe there. Everybody he's got detained at that time, the cop would then be responsible for. And that means the cop actually allowed my son to go toward a road without stopping him. And they used that as a reason to run my name and coerce me out of my name, claiming that they had suspicion of an actual crime. So I'll present you the footage that I got on the camera. And I have TJ and Michelle here. If it goes any further, we'll write reports on what happened. But basically, it looks like a pass because I thought that they saw my son, like they were driving by and my son moved toward the road. And that's the way they presented it. And they stopped because of that action, which that's not really what happened. After the data came together, it was that during the time that TJ is being interrogated by a police officer who was there for a non-crime, my son lost control of the ball and he went toward the roadway. And that action, even though that's still not illegal, was the basis of the warrant check and all that on myself and my wife. So, and I guess that would be illegal if he went toward the road. That'd be child neglect. But in this case, the neglect would fall on the shoulders of the cop who's controlling the situation at the time. So that's my report. And in Dixon, California. Talk to you soon. Pardon?
Those your kids over here?
Yes, those are my children. We are.
I'm gonna park. I'll be talking.
Sir. I usually don't give my name unless it's suspected of a crime. Hold on real quick. So I'm here now with Dixon police officer, Officer Gamoris. We're in California. This is not it is not a stop and ID state. Gamoris is demanding my name. I'm on the phone with ACLU. This is what we do, actually. And he's demanding my name right now. I'm going to refuse to do that right now unless you suspect me of a crime.
Here's a possibility of a crime.
What was that?
Your son that's over there?
Yeah, my son is right here, yeah.
Your son damn near ran into the street chasing a ball.
Whoa.
No, come here.
Okay.
I'm not done.
Okay.
Whoever you have watching your kid,
yes, he's an adult.
Obviously, if that's happening in front of him,
it should never have happened.
The kid shouldn't be on the corner.
Did you see this happen?
It happened right in front of me. It's on video. He had to be told by me and to him to stop chasing the ball. So, with that being said, your kids are in a dangerous position.
Yeah, they need to stop. Yeah.
So now you can present your name.
Oh, yeah.
For your ID.
Well, I can give you my name and date of birth. And hold on, can you tell me what crime you're suspecting me of? Me.
Possibly child endangerment.
Me? Child endangerment?
They're your kids, right?
My child is with an adult right now.
You left them with that adult.
Yes.
What's your name?
Pastor Andrew Stevens, Church of Common Good.
Andrew Stevens?
STEPHENS. May I get a supervisor here, please? Now, because now, well, see, what we're doing an audit right now, so I don't have my.
You don't even know where this was even.
Well, we're doing. I need a supervisor. Well, at this point in time, I need a supervisor president. I'm asking for a supervisor now because what you're doing, you're coercing me out of information I have a right to reserve.
No, I'm investigating
a crime.
Child endangerment.
Okay.
Which means I.
78. I would never endanger my child.
Where's he out of?
What do you mean? Am I Humboldt County?
He's out of Maryland.
Yeah, Humboldt County. We live in Humboldt County. I'm from Florida is the last place I live.
The middle name because there's probably going to be a million Andrew Stevens.
I mean, right now we're recording and we're live on the internet, so.
I don't want to play games.
You've coerced me now against my rights, right? You violated my rights, and I'd like to talk to your supervisor. May I talk to your supervisor?
Sure, I'll start him out here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Please do so. For what crime? Now why is my child right? You're saying my child did something. I need to advise my child and get him back in safety.
See my partner standing there? He's not going to let anything happen.
Right, my adult should be. My auditor should be watching my child. What fell? Fine. This is what they call. This is what they call an NCIC check. It is also done illegally. What we do here in this case is we pull what's called a FOIA request or Freedom of Information Act, and we show where the police do these illegal things out of coercion. As I tried to show him, unless there's a crime being committed, he doesn't really have a reason to investigate my name. Actually, in California, unless I'm being arrested for a felony, he has no right to get my name, but you see how he coerced and used my children against me while we're doing this audit. So this is the situations we're dealing with around the country, is officers coming and presenting themselves harshly toward homeless people and poor people, and why we do these audits. So this is Officer Gamoris again. And your badge number was 326.
That's ornamental 1236 is my ID.
So 326, he's wearing on his thing is ornamental, and his number is 1236. 1236. See, what we do is we cross the country, we try to find out how police are treating poor people, and what you're doing right now is exactly what we expect to see. Do you have a body camera running? Okay, good. Very good. Very good. Yeah, my child should never be doing anything. But the thing is, we do these audits. I think that you stop for other reasons. I believe that you stop because you might have got a report or a call, and I guess we'll find that out from a call report.
Here's what I explained to him before the child was ran into the street.
Right.
Concern and the reason why we're here. Have you been in this small town before?
No, we haven't. This is the first time here.
Prior to you coming here, other folks have kind of ruined people's ability to stand outside.
Yeah, but they constitutionally protect it.
Hold on,
go ahead. Go ahead, please. No, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right, sir. You're right.
So when people see that, knowing that when it's winter and there's kids out here, and the kids are sitting out there being used as toys, they call.
Well, in this case, we're auditing it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Well, you're using words. Go ahead. Go ahead.
They are being used as toys because when they show up with different kids, and it's really cold outside, it's not helpful for the kids.
Oh, poise. What's the word?
Ploy. As a ploy. As a. This is my poor kid. Give me more money.
Oh, well, that's not what this was. Okay, got it.
Before you,
Oh, I see.
my
Gotcha.
supervisor's calling me. Let me answer that. Right?
Yeah, you be respectful. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Hey, Sergeant. No, I'm not with her. Asking me to call from you, so van full of a couple folks, a couple kids that were on the corner near Dorset. One of them actually was running in the street trying to chase his ball right in front of me. So he's playing while I'm like giving me my name and ID and all that stuff. So
I did.
it could be potential child endangerment, but I do have a reason to stop and talk to him, which he eventually did. So, but he did ask me to see if he could come out and speak with him at his request. Is there something you want me to pass on? He might not be able to make it out.
If you're busy, I'll handle it with the city council at a later time because it's something we can handle at a later time.
He said if you're busy, he'll be able to do it on his own. Let me just let you know. Perfect. All right, sir.
Yeah, we're not here to give you a hard time. What we're in this case, I don't. I'm gonna lecture my son. He really should have had a ball out here.
The problem is the location.
I didn't even know where my auditor went. So
Cars flying through here
he called me and said he was on location. I'm sorry.
aren't necessarily going to stop in time to prevent your child from being here.
It's not. I get it. It's state policing and being parenting through the state.
You're going out here.
Well, yeah, because I have a state official that I think.
You're interrupting me.
Yeah, okay, I thought you interrupted me. I'm sorry.
Stop.
Go ahead.
You're over here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dealing with a local issue of a couple of kids. Let's let her do the
Yes, absolutely.
Of a couple of kids that are in a dangerous spot that I don't want to get hit by a car.
You feel it's dangerous.
But I think it's dangerous.
Yes.
When you got cars whizzing by and he's about to chase a ball in the street, what's going to win?
Well, that's dangerous activity for sure.
What's going to win, the SUV or your kid?
In that case, that's dangerous
Common
activity.
sense. What's going to win?
I'm upset that happened.
Me too.
Yes.
Now, they can't continue doing that where they're at. It's dangerous for the kids.
Well, the kid's gonna have to go back, but the auditor. What we're trying to figure out is what you're really here for, because like what we see happen around the country is that there are ordinances presented to city councilmen come on now, and those ordinances are for traffic flow issues and to stop the accosting of other citizens. But then police are using what we call fashion police. They don't like to say something's presented, so they're accosting, actually harassing what we consider the poor and homeless people. And in this case, we feel like you're here because of the sign holding and not the children. If you're here for the children need to leave. And that may happen because that should never happen. For sure, that should never happen. But,
Number one,
yeah.
I don't lie to people.
Right.
I don't play games.
Right.
You probably can see that I'm dead set serious,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to kids.
Yes.
Okay, I worked on the ambulance in this camp.
Yes, sir.
I watched little kids get hit by cars.
Right.
Get killed. I personally saw it. High speed, slow speed, doing similar stuff like this.
Right.
Chasing dogs, chasing balls.
Right.
I'm here because a citizen was worried about your kids. Okay? That citizen may have just saved your kid's life by us being here to say stop running into the street. That's it. If
Okay.
you're their parents, you need to get your
Yes.
kids, be on your way.
I'll get that. Now, my auditor will be around your town.
All that stuff you want to do as an adult, that's
we have
on you.
well, we have to see because see what happens a lot of times. Porch women with mothers, single mothers, are often in situations.
You're taking it way out here.
Well, we're auditing, so as we're gathering data,
Take care
so
of the kids.
well, definitely. I'm sorry you saw. I want to find out facts too.
This is wrapped up.
Yeah, I'm gonna find out some facts too. But thank you so much. I'm gonna walk over here. I need to find out some facts here, Michelle. So what is being presented to me, and this is over here. What was presented to me was that Blade had a ball and lost control of the ball, and then Blade went toward a roadway. You went toward a roadway. You're not allowed to do audits no more. Not right now. If you don't do, that's not how we do audits. We're auditors. And we gather information on how police and other people treat homeless people around the country. My son every once in a while has come out here and stop it. Why don't you stop it? You're not mean. My son every once in a while wants to come out here and he learns the missionary work that we do. But that is, in my opinion, irresponsible and it should never happen. And I apologize that my son would go. I don't know how that happened at all. So yeah, Michelle. You grab the kids and take them on that way. You have an ID of my wife's? Okay. Now, what was the crime that you were suspecting my wife of in order to get the ID?
It's all the same.
So the crime is being parents of a child. Okay, got it. Potential child endangerment.
There you go.
Yeah, so it has nothing to do with sign holding.
No, that's not
Okay. All right. Just making sure. All right.
Do you believe me when I tell you that?
Well, I did. I was trying to ask him that separately. That's why I came up here. But I believe you to some degree.
Sign holding.
Well, one's a violation of constitutional rights, and the other one is a welfare check. So I would believe that you would definitely say it was for something legitimate, for sure.
We're not going to continue.
Yeah.
I said that's what we're called out here for.
A lawful, yeah.
Come out here and we checked. Right. I told you that.
He says it's a lawful stop because there was a potential crime. Yeah.
So at that point, we saw the kids. And the kids are okay. We got to make sure these kids are okay.
Right.
That's why I initially thought he was the parent.
Right. Now, where did Blade run to? Can somebody tell me? Okay. Yeah. Here in Dixon, California, on it's gonna be May 17th, 2017. You had a police interaction with Blade and Scarlett out doing an audit here, and when the police pulled up on you, what was the reasoning for being there?
Panhandling at first.
And so I assume that they didn't give you an ordinance number; they just used the word panhandling. And how did you respond to that?
That I wasn't panhandling because I wasn't panhandling.
And then what was the response? How did that conversation go from there?
Then they just wanted to make sure the kids were all right.
Okay, so then they moved into the children. Now, at one point in time, the officer I was interviewing on the camera told me that Blade dropped his ball and he went toward the road, and Blade went toward the road to grab the ball.
Yeah, when they took my attention away from the children. And,
so the police were there at this time then. Okay, and so they were basically keeping you detained.
Pretty much. Yeah.
You felt detained.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they took my ID, so.
And then they were capturing your attention. Okay. And so, did you feel like the police were then in control of the situation, or should have been?
Should have been, yeah.
So, so then basically now when they took your ID, did they coerce you out of that? You told them you didn't want an ID, or did you just hand them your ID?
I mean, I did, but then they used the children as their tactic. And it's,
what are you doing?
So then you just felt obligated because...
Yeah, and then they started talking about drugs and stuff and how other people around here do this with their children. And just
so they, like, using other scenarios...
Yeah, like that.
Other scenarios make it seem like we were doing something that would be the stigma that we're trying to erase to begin with. They started attaching that stigma to you. Okay. And didn't they mention something about, like, wanting to search things?
Yeah, they mentioned if we were still out there and they had to come back, they might have to search things.
So they kind of like making threats. If
we were smoking anything that things might not end up well. So they can't have their sergeant looking at them like.
So idle threats. Got it. Got it. So profiling, idle threats. Now, how did you respond to that?
Metaphorically.
Right. Hi, Michelle. So when you talked to the officer, you talked to the same officer that was with TJ. What did he say he was there for?
Panhandling.
Okay, and that was not the officer I was with. That was the other officer that.
Was the second one.
Yeah.
Second one.
Very good. So then, when did you start hearing about the children, potentially child neglect?
When you and the other cop came back.
Okay, so after I had talked to the other cop, got it. Make sure it's instance. Okay, so that concludes these interviews. So basically. My presumption is obviously going to be that the cop saw I had a camera on him, and we were auditing then for First Amendment rights audits. In this case, it would be the right to freedom of speech and propagation of religion if you use the ministry, but this is a freedom of speech audit. And then, so yeah, there was the whole thing, what we expect, the stigmas attached to it and all that. And they were stopping for panhandling and then changed it up as soon as they saw that it was an audit. And that's something we probably see many times if we didn't have the body cams on the auditors. Police oftentimes will change up their stories and mislead and tell lies and try to cover things up in their misbehavior or their behavior that's not lawful behavior. And that's another example of that here in Dixon, California. Pastor Andrew Stevens, Church Common Good, Exodus Project, American Culture TV. Check us out on Facebook and talk to you soon. Love you guys.
We're going to need a better harness.